A 7-foot NBA superstar walks through Costco holding a giant strawberry smoothie like it's the greatest thing he's ever tasted. Then, after scoring 50 points in the NBA Finals, he jumps not on a private plane to Vegas, but on an IG Live from Chick-fil-A, excitedly ordering exactly 50 chicken minis to celebrate his NBA championship. No luxury flex, or the normal celebrity behavior. Just Giannis Antetokounmpo acting like somebody's overly excited neighbor, which makes absolutely no sense when Forbes lists him among the richest athletes in the world. So why does a man worth hundreds of millions still get excited over fast food like a regular guy? Why does Giannis still live like somebody afraid of wasting money? And what happened before the NBA that made luxury feel almost meaningless to him? Long before the NBA fame, Giannis was a teenager in Athens selling sunglasses and DVDs on the street, just to help his family eat. And the deeper you go into his story, the harder it becomes to look at Giannis like just another rich NBA superstar. Because behind the MVP trophies and hundreds of millions is one of the most intriguing survival stories modern basketball has ever seen. Once you see what his life looked like before the money arrived, the way Giannis lives today suddenly stops looking strange and starts making perfect sense. From undocumented kid to NBA superstar. Long before the NBA money, Giannis Antetokounmpo was growing up inside a tiny apartment in Sepolia, a working-class neighborhood in Athens where survival came before everything else. His parents, Charles and Veronica Antetokounmpo, had left Nigeria years earlier searching for work, but without legal documents in Greece, stable jobs were almost impossible to keep. Some weeks, his father picked up exhausting construction and manual labor jobs. Other weeks, there was nothing. His mother cleaned houses, babysat children, and stretched every euro as far as possible just to feed 5 boys. And because Greece did not automatically give citizenship to children born there, Giannis spent most of his childhood effectively stateless. No Greek passport, Nigerian passport, or real protection. For years, the family lived with constant fear that one bad situation could destroy everything they had left. Giannis later admitted that growing up, he worried his parents could be deported at any moment. So while most future NBA stars spent childhood focused on basketball, Giannis and his brothers were out on the streets of Athens selling sunglasses, watches, handbags, and DVDs to tourists just to help buy food. Sometimes they made enough money to eat properly. Sometimes they did not. There were days Giannis went to practice hungry because there simply was not enough food at home. Other days, there was no money for transportation, so he and his brother Thanasis walked through Athens to training instead. And what makes the story even crazier is that basketball almost never happened at all. When Giannis first started playing seriously around age 13, he was still unbelievably skinny, awkward, and completely unknown outside local gyms in Greece. But one coach, Spiros Valiniatis, noticed something different immediately: the length, speed, and hunger. According to multiple reports, the coach became so invested in Giannis and his brothers that he even helped their parents find better-paying jobs so the boys could keep training consistently. That changed everything. Suddenly, NBA scouts started hearing rumors about this impossible teenage prospect hidden in Greece. A nearly 7-foot kid moving like a guard, sprinting through defenders, dunking from impossible angles, and somehow still looking completely raw at the same time. But even as Giannis became one of the most fascinating young prospects in Europe, another problem threatened to ruin the entire dream before it even started. He still did not legally belong anywhere. Without citizenship papers, Giannis could not freely travel outside Greece like other international prospects. At one point, his status nearly prevented him from even making the trip to the United States for the NBA draft itself. There were repeated complications surrounding passports, visas, and legal approval, while NBA teams were already preparing to select him. Eventually, just weeks before the 2013 NBA draft, the Greek government granted Giannis citizenship, so he could finally leave the country and officially begin his NBA journey. Think about how insane that is. 1 month, Giannis Antetokounmpo was still a teenager selling products on the streets of Athens while worrying about legal paper. The next month, he was standing on an NBA stage in New York as the 15th overall pick in the draft. But what happens when somebody spends almost their entire childhood learning that stability can disappear overnight? The money arrived, but the fear never really left. Once Giannis entered the NBA in 2013, his entire life changed almost instantly, with massive contracts, national commercials, signature shoes, MVP awards, global fame. Most young superstars use that kind of money to prove they have finally made it. Giannis almost moved in the complete opposite direction from modern celebrity culture. While other superstars filled Instagram with yachts, jewelry, and private jets, Giannis kept going viral for things that honestly looked almost ridiculous coming from somebody worth over $100 million. One of the most famous examples came right after his legendary 50-point performance in the 2021 NBA Final. Instead of partying at some luxury club, Giannis jumped on Instagram Live from a Chick-fil-A drive-thru, excitedly ordering exactly 50 chicken minis because he had scored 50 points. And the strange part was how genuine the whole thing felt. This was one of the biggest athletes on the planet acting more excited about fast food than celebrity attention. The same thing happened in viral interview clips where Giannis was so happy with his mango smoothies, reacting like somebody still amazed simple comfort had not stopped feeling special yet. No carefully manufactured humble celebrity image or fake relatability performance. Just reactions that felt completely natural. And maybe that makes more sense once you understand how he grew up. Because for Giannis, money was never really connected to status symbols. It was connected to survival. Food in the fridge, rent paid, bills handled, and family protected. Even after becoming one of the richest players in basketball, he still carried himself like somebody who remembered exactly what it felt like to live without security. And one story from early in his NBA career explains that mentality better than almost anything else. The endorsement check story NBA fans still talk about. Early in his NBA career, Giannis received one of his first major endorsement checks, and his reaction explained almost everything about the way he sees money. Instead of buying jewelry, designer clothes, or a luxury car, Giannis immediately wired nearly all of it back home to his family in Greece. Then, only afterward, he realized he had a problem. He barely had enough money left to get himself to the arena for the game that night, and the story somehow gets even crazier from there. According to Giannis himself during later interviews, his card was not working properly, and with no ride available, he ended up running through the freezing Milwaukee streets trying to make it to the arena on time. At one point, fans driving past recognized the 7-foot Bucks rookie jogging through the snow and eventually stopped to give him a ride to the game. Think about how insane that image is for a second. A future MVP sprinting through the cold because his first instinct after getting paid was still send the money home first. And psychologically, that story says everything. Most people who suddenly become rich think, how do I enjoy this? Giannis thought, how do I make sure my family is safe first? Because his brothers were never separated from the struggle. They lived every part of it together, selling products on the streets of Athens, sharing cramped apartments, worrying about food, bills, legal papers, and survival. So even after the fame arrived, Giannis never emotionally disconnected from any of it. He brought his family into his NBA journey, helped create opportunities for his brothers, protected his mother publicly after his father passed away. The money changed completely, but the survival mindset never really left him. The father who changed everything. One of the biggest emotional turning points in Giannis's life came in 2017 when his father, Giannis Antetokounmpo, died unexpectedly from a heart attack at 54 years old. People around Giannis noticed a shift afterward because Charles represented something much bigger than just a father. He represented survival. Giannis has spoken multiple times about watching his dad work exhausting jobs while asking for almost nothing himself. Long hours, physical labor, constant sacrifice just to keep the family together in Greece. And when you grow up watching somebody carry that kind of pressure quietly, success starts feeling less like a celebration and more like a responsibility. That is why Giannis talks about money differently than most celebrities. Not like proof, but protection. Protection from hunger, protection from instability, protection from ever going backward again. And honestly, that mindset explains why fame never fully changed him, but there is another reason people connect to him so deeply. He never turned the struggle into an image. Why Giannis never became Hollywood. The NBA wanted Giannis to become a global superstar machine. Bigger markets wanted him, brands wanted him, polished fans expected the luxury athlete lifestyle, but Giannis stayed strangely grounded. No constant nightclub headline, no weekly luxury flexes, no obsession with showing people how rich he became. And part of that comes from how late stability entered his life. Some athletes grow up wealthy around fame, Giannis grew up around uncertainty. So even now, he sometimes talks about money like the struggle could return if he stops paying attention. And you can hear it in interviews constantly. Family, responsibility, saving, security, discipline. Because people who grow up unstable often develop a completely different relationship with comfort. Luxury feels temporary, security feels priceless, and nowhere is that mentality clearer than in the way he gives money away. The charity work people do not talk about enough. This is the part of Giannis Antetokounmpo's story most people never fully see. Because when Giannis gives money away, it almost always connects directly back to something his own family once struggled through personally. One of the biggest examples is the Giannis Antetokounmpo Family Foundation, also known as CAF, the non-profit created by Giannis and his family in honor of his late father. The foundation focuses heavily on food access, housing support, education, youth sports, and immigrant communities across Milwaukee, Greece, and Nigeria. And the projects are not small. In 2024, Giannis and his family partnered with GE Healthcare to launch the Powering Milwaukee Forward initiative, distributing $1 million in grants to Milwaukee nonprofits focused on food insecurity, affordable housing, youth education, health access, and safe community spaces. Organizations funded included Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin, Hunger Task Force, Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee, Milwaukee Habitat for Humanity, YIMCA of Metropolitan Milwaukee, and several community health programs. Food insecurity especially seems deeply personal to him. Back in 2018, Giannis partnered with the Milwaukee Bucks and Pick and Save to donate over $50,000 worth of food to local charities during Thanksgiving, while personally helping serve meals inside Milwaukee community centers. Reports from the event said nearly 27,000 meals were distributed. During interviews, Giannis openly connected the project to his own childhood struggles growing up in Greece, and the giving never really slowed down. In 2024 alone, the Antetokounmpo family helped fund Hunger Task Force's mobile market program in Milwaukee, supporting access to affordable groceries inside neighborhoods considered food deserts. The family also continued supporting youth-focused programs through CAF, including sports access, education opportunities, and mentorship initiatives for underprivileged children. Then there are the smaller moments that honestly reveal even more about Giannis as a person. According to the NBA's official community reports, Giannis hosted shopping trips for low-income children through the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee, personally helping kids buy gifts for their families during the holidays. He and his family also organized large Christmas events for hundreds of foster families, funded diaper drives that raised over $180,000 for Milwaukee Diaper Mission, worked with Make-A-Wish children, and personally served meals at homeless shelters during Thanksgiving. And maybe that is why Giannis feels different from a lot of celebrities. The charity never feels disconnected from his life story. When he funds food programs, you remember the kid selling sunglasses in Athens trying to help buy dinner. When he helps immigrant communities, you remember the teenager growing up stateless in Greece. When he invests in youth programs, you remember the coaches and mentors who changed his own life before the NBA ever existed for him. The kindness never felt disconnected from his past. And maybe that is also the reason Giannis never chased the glamorous celebrity life other superstars wanted, because the city that embraced him before the fame eventually became more valuable to him than Hollywood ever could. Why Milwaukee meant more than Hollywood. A lot of NBA fans still wonder why Giannis stayed loyal to Milwaukee instead of chasing bigger celebrity markets. The answer is simpler than people think. Milwaukee embraced him before the world did. When Giannis arrived in 2013, he was not yet a global icon. He was a skinny teenager from Greece who barely spoke English and looked completely overwhelmed by America. Stories from his rookie season about him being fascinated by ordinary supermarkets because he had never seen stores that large before. Teammates noticed how excited he became over simple things most NBA players would never even think twice about. Not because he was pretending to seem humble, but because his life genuinely had been that different. And Milwaukee watched all of it happen in real time. The growth, pressure, mistakes, and transformation. So when modern NBA culture pushed stars towards super teams and glamour cities, Giannis stayed where life finally started feeling stable. Staying loyal to Milwaukee already made Giannis different from most superstars. But what happened in 2021 transformed that loyalty into one of the most emotional stories modern basketball had seen in years. The 2021 championship changed his image forever. For years, critics questioned whether Giannis could actually lead a team to a championship. The pressure kept growing, and in the modern NBA, most superstars solve that problem by leaving. Joining super teams, finding easier paths, and building perfect situations, Giannis stayed. And in 2021, he delivered Milwaukee its first NBA championship in 50 years. Then came the defining image, 50 points in the finals clinching game. And afterward, instead of sounding arrogant, Giannis gave one of the most revealing interviews of his career. "The easy route is to go somewhere else and win," he said afterward. "This is the hard way to do it." And maybe that is why Giannis still feels so different from most global celebrities even now. Because despite all the fame, there are still moments where he reacts to the world like the same awkward kid who once sold products on the streets of Athens. The funniest part of his personality. Giannis may genuinely be one of the only global superstars who still seems slightly confused by his own fame. One minute, he is destroying NBA defenses. The next, he is obsessing over Oreos, laughing too hard during interviews, or getting genuinely excited about smoothies. Even after all the fame, Giannis still comes across less like a polished celebrity and more like the same grateful kid who once worried about surviving another week with his family. The trophies multiplied. The money changed completely. But the part of him shaped by hardship never really disappeared. A private jet may impress other people, To Giannis, making sure his family never struggles again probably matters far more. And maybe that is the real reason he still lives like an ordinary man. Because deep down, he never fully disconnected from the life he came from. Why Giannis still feels different. By celebrity standards, Giannis Antetokounmpo lives almost like an ordinary man. No obsession with showing off. No desperate need to prove how rich he became. But for the kid who once sold sunglasses on the streets of Athens, worried about food, rent, and whether his family would survive another month, this probably already feels like the richest life imaginable. And maybe that is the real reason Giannis never became consumed by luxury. Because once somebody grows up terrified of losing everything, peace starts feeling more valuable than fame ever could.